Hello and welcome back. This is David from the Personal Finance Squad. Hello and welcome back. This is David from the Personal Finance Squad. We just finished the beginning of the Dependent Care Assistance Plan. We saw Jasper do some basic layouts of math to determine what the average amount would be per month for his account. We're taking this from child care, and this is where he's going to use it. And we need to further that with the Dependent Care Assistance account, because it is its own account. So in a sense, it's like its own supplemental. So a few things we need to look at here, and we will have a grid down below here to see how this is all going to play out. Right here we see that Jasper has 5 unique bill amounts that can happen depending on the month during the year. And now we have to understand is that although in chapter 3 the child care schedule was created and a supplemental 12-month plan was created, there may be some more money that needs to be inputted to account for this. And again, we'll see why in a few seconds. What we need to see and understand here is that Jasper is putting away $276 per check, not counting the third bonus checks. That would be $414 on just those 2 checks. Okay, so he has $276. And for example, the first bill is $266.08, and that's going to yield him a $9.92 leftover balance in his DCAP. So now let's go down and see where this comes into play. So this looks a lot different from the other charts that we've been looking at and the other exercises. It's just more, it's expanded. And so we're going to run through this carefully so it makes a lot of sense. So keep in mind, we know that Jasper's average is $300 a month. Okay? Remember, we have a supplemental account and we have a DCAP account. So it's really, in a sense, 2 supplementals. So we did the exercise in chapter 3 and realized that Jasper's going to need to stick in $70.98 for upfront cash. Now, we're really going to run this again and see if it plays out because of the extra layer of DCAP. All of these amounts here are put into this section so we can see the math a little easier. So you can see these are simply the costs for those particular months. And then Jasper has this $276 a month. And then you can see in April it's $414 and November $414 because those are those additional check months. What we want to see is how this is going to play out. So what we added here is cost less DCAP equals remain, because there could be some remaining, either negative or positive, and we'll put it into the right place accordingly. So you can see in the first month here that actually when we say there's a negative $992, that's really a surplus. So you can do this any way you want. Technically, if you put the numbers in order, that's what it would look like. However, over here, 414 is really what's coming in, and it's 340.08, so there's actually a surplus there as well. You know that math says $276 less $266.08 leaves $992 remaining in Jasper's account. And then hence we update the subtotal, and the $70.98 in our supplemental, his supplemental, which you'll do, is $70.98. So then we get to the next month and we can see that the daycare bill, child care, is $340, and so a $64 balance remains to cover that cost. So $992 was pulled from that account, but it leaves $54.08 to pay the bill. So that means taking away from the supplemental leaves the $16.90. So everything is still covered. But now we get to March and we have $303.08, and then we need $27 and realize that we can take 16.9, but now we find out that we're going to have a shortage again. And that relieves this $10.18 that needs to be added. So hence, it puts the supplemental balance down to 0 and all the bills are covered. Now we get into a bonus check month, so it's a third check, and 414 is the number less this 340.08, and now the DCAP is reloaded with 73.92. And then we go through 3 periods in a row with the same amounts. So this takes away from this, leaving this. Does it again, does it one more time, and we get down to the point in July where there's actually 80 cents left in the DCAP. And then we get back to these months again where it's $9.92, so it builds again. So there's $20.64 left. But then October is the biggest month of the year for Jasper's Child Care, and you can see it's $377.08 less $276, and that means $101.08 needs to be covered. We subtract $20.64 from that, so the DCAP is exhausted, and that leaves a gap of $80.44, hence more added cash. And then November hits $414, and now it builds up again. So now you get the $110.92 surplus, and then December's a light month, and so there's $46.92, and you can see how the year ends with $157 in Jasper's DCAP. So you can see when you play everything out, the money's good. But again, like added cash, you need to have money at certain points to build up the account. When you get into year 2, this money is going to replenish the whole system. Okay, what we want to point out here is that seeing there's a $157 left over, and that comes from added cash, then there's no need to put $3,000 in total into the DCAP. And that's because you're going to put the money in the stipend up front for the added cash in the beginning of your plan year anyway. So what we'd end up doing is taking out $157 from the DCAP. And we'll go into that in the next section and see how the math breaks out. A couple other items of note: unlike the health FSA, where you get reimbursement if you haven't used all the money yet, meaning if you have money that is going to be put in there during the plan, it'll allow you to actually pay for things even if you have a negative balance at the time, as long as you haven't used up all the money that you've committed during the year. Now for the DCAP, it's a little different. Right here it says you need $300, but you only have $200 in your account. So what it says is you will owe $100. So this is where the scenario is backwards. It simply looks at the account, and if you do not have enough, it's only going to pay what's in there. It doesn't say, hey, I have other monies coming in my plan year, and I'll just let you pay for it now, and then you can make up the money later. Secondly, we've talked about the use it or lose it rule. And you can see that this is just like the FSA from Chapter 7. So it's very important to make sure that, again, if you're going to put money into the account, that you use it. And this is a great reason why we say up here, if we know we're going to put $157 ahead of time for the year, but it is going to be there later, you'd rather have that money up front and take it off the back end, so that way you're only putting in what you need to get the most money in your pocket. Okay, let's look at one last piece here. We want to see what it looks like with our new scenarios with the FSA and the DCAP combined in terms of the paycheck. And you can see right here that by putting money away in the pre-tax, there is an additional, of course, gain. And this is in the 10 of 12 month check scenario, right? And this is the 2 of 12, which is the bonus checks months, the third check months. And there's 248 there. Okay, so that's just a quick understanding of where we stand at this moment. And then what we're going to do is get into 7.2, the benefits of choosing the account, where we get a little deeper in making a quick adjustment, again, how to put more money in your pocket and certainly not into someone else's. Okay, so thanks for joining, and we will see you in the next video.